This part of Washington is no stranger to wildfires, but you just have to take one look around to understand the appeal of living here. Right now, we're on top of Palmer Mountain in Okanogan County. Many of the people that I talked with say they live here because it's all they can afford. For some, it's a trailer, but without electricity. For others, it's a small cabin, but with no running water. And unfortunately, after the Palmer fire came through here, many of them lost everything. They also tell me that insurance to protect what little they do have isn't an option.
Well, everybody wants a piece of the pie. You want your land, you want your own space. People have the idea that the land is affordable up here, but yet we're kind of at the mercy of the land.
Colleen Hollingshead has lived on Palmer Mountain for more than a decade, and in many ways she's considered herself one of the lucky ones. You're one of the few, it sounds like, with electricity and water.
Yes, we have electricity and water, and we're thankful for that. Because my neighbors all around me, they don't have those simple things that everybody takes advantage of.
And her luck held out as the Palmer fire moved closer to the town of Loomis and over the top of Palmer Mountain. Colleen's home on the mountain is still standing. Others, though, were not so fortunate.
I lost everything.
Robert Phillips has called Palmer Mountain home since 2014. He tells me his 12 by 16 cabin wasn't much, but it was his.
20 acres right here with me right now. I'm happy with that, I mean, I get to see everything up there, the deer and all the animals and stuff up around through there, and it's peace to me.
But the problem here has always been this part of Okanogan County is unincorporated and unprotected. That means Colleen and Robert and dozens of others who live up here are without any protection from a local fire district. So when a fire breaks out, help may be too far away.
In that case, clean up around your premises.
For Pete Cantu, that meant cutting down the brush and weeds all around his uninsured cabin before the fire came.
That's the only insurance I could say you really got going for you.
Yeah, but it obviously worked for you.
It worked for me, thank God.
Steve Harris with Washington's Department of Natural Resources says it often comes down to resources.
There are lots of areas in the state of Washington where fire districts do not provide fire protection, and unfortunately there are oftentimes homes built in those areas. If the roads are poor, there's poor access, poor water, then a fire district may say, we can't provide adequate coverage.
And on top of that, homeowners insurance isn't always an option.
If you get insurance, you can't afford it, and then some of them don't even offer it.
Yeah, I looked into it, and the people, they asked me, says, well, where do you live at? And whenever I said Okanogan County up above Oroville, they says, says, you couldn't even afford it. And that was the end of the conversation on that. So
if you knew that insurance wasn't an option for you up there, that it was just too expensive, did you ever worry that something like this would happen someday?
I worried about it all the time.
DNR crews worry too. When the Palmer fire started to make its run, they sent brush trucks and water tenders, even though it's not technically their jurisdiction.
In that area, we knew there was no fire district protection, but we also knew there were people in those areas. When you have homes that ignite, it makes fighting fire more difficult as well. You have the unknown hazards around the homes. Plus, we just obviously don't want to see homes burn.
Harris says DNR would like to see more unincorporated areas become part of a fire district, but he knows for some, living outside those lines may leave them empty-handed.
Nobody wants to lose, what you've worked so hard for all your life. It's the last thing you have.
I mean, that's my home. That's all I've got. I've got nowhere else to go.
So most of the people that I talk to, they say they do want to stay and rebuild there in Okanogan County, but they do need help. So here's a list of the items that they need the most. Things like temporary shelters, showers, camping supplies, and food, and of course, monetary donations. So if you can help, you can contact the Tonasket-Oroville Disaster Relief Team. Their number is 509-486-1328. And again, that number is right there at the bottom of your screen.